This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV.com, and today I have the honor of interviewing one of the greatest lightweight fighters of all time. He was an Olympic gold medalist at the 76 Olympics, undisputed light heavyweight champion for 3 years, lineal heavyweight champion for 4 years, 31 wins, only 1 loss. Excellent record. Michael Spinks, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Long day for you today?
Not really.
So how did you get into boxing?
Well, my brother Leon, he went to the gym. Some brothers that lived on the 10th floor in the building that we lived in, they were the Westbrook brothers, and there was quite a few of them. And they took Leon to the gym, and Leon came back and said, "Mike, I've been to the gym." And I think I started some stuff with him the next day, and he put some of those boxing punches on me. And so right away after that day, I went there myself. That's how I got started.
Did you realize you were better than your average amateur boxer right away?
Not at all. I wasn't. I was losing. I lost in the first tournaments that I participated in, and I lost. And I think Leon had won, and I think I did it for a couple of years, couple of seasons in a row. I lost, and I just thought it wasn't for me. So I kept going to the gym, but I wouldn't enter into none of the boxing matches that he had for me. And I think as I got older, I think I was able to, I guess, progress in the boxing field.
What were some of the keys to your training as an amateur that allowed you to progress into the boxer that you became?
Well, when I finally won a tournament, I had worked. I worked extremely hard, and I found out that hard work brings victory. I found out that if you work hard, you'll get the victory. So that's what I started doing, and I started winning.
Now, what was your training consisting of as an amateur? I would guess road work, calisthenics, and sparring and boxing training.
Yep, and I also ran up the steps. It was 11 stories in the building that I lived in, so I started running up and down the steps. I did about 3 times, just 11 stories. So that was quite a hike.
How many miles would you run on average a week for your road work?
Oh man, I think we had moved to the south side of St. Louis, and I would run back to the Pruitt-Igoe projects where I lived at first. I would run there and run all the way back across town. I ran to north and back to the south.
Did your brother Leon help you out much when you first got started in boxing?
Well, not really. Leon was doing his own thing. And I got in the ring with him one day, and he was beating me like he didn't know me. I thought your brother's supposed to take it easy on you. And I was crying in the ring as he was beating the daylights out of me. And I was saying to myself, I said, "This is my brother. He's beating me like he don't know me." And so, and then that stopped. You know, I don't know. I think my coach just wanted to see how I would fare up with my brother Leon. But I think a couple of years later, I don't think I was in boxing at the time, but I was still going to the gym. But Leon and myself, I talked him into putting the gloves on and spar with me. And it was a hallway that we lived, that was under where we lived, a big long hallway. Anyway, me and Leon got in the square, and and I beat him.
Wow.
And I just remembered or saw just how I beat him. Leon punched real fast, and I was punching fast at the time. But as Leon slowed down, that's when I came out of my shell, because I would be blocking the punches most of the time. But once Leon slowed down, I came out of my shell, and I would beat him. So I found out some key advice in terms of how you do it, and that's what I did. Leon slowed down, I speeded up, and I beat my brother, and I slung the gloves off my hands, and I said, I beat your ass. And so that was the start of my doing all right in the ring.
Is there any particular fight of your brother's that you enjoyed the most, or you were happiest about him pulling off a victory in?
Is there what?
Is there like one of your brother's professional fights that you enjoyed the most? Because I assume you watched them.
Yeah. When he fought Muhammad Ali, and the thing was, Leon and myself, we always stood out in the audience, and we'd be hooping and hollering for one another to do well in that particular fight. And but Leon, I mean, we always rooted for one another, and one of the best fights, one of the fights, and as a matter of fact, I pretended to be Muhammad Ali the way I tried to fight the way he did, and Leon was beating me up then too, but I wasn't crying at the time. It was a good workout that I had with him.
Now, there's a fan on here. This is a wrestling channel mostly, and I guess your brother appeared on a wrestling show in the 90s. Do you have any recollection of that? And did you ever get any offers to appear in a professional wrestling event over the years?
No, I never got invited to participate in a wrestling match, but I think I did see Leon in that wrestling match, and I think the guy was kicking Leon's legs, and Leon's legs were very sore after that. But I never participated.
When you would spar in practice, how many days a week would you do heavy sparring?
Well, you start off kind of slow. You start off, making. You start off maybe two guys. You spar with 2 guys, and then as time went on, the sparring picked up. I would spar with 4 or 5 guys, and one evening, I go maybe 2 rounds with the first guy, 3 rounds with the second guy, sometimes 4 rounds or 3 rounds again, and then 3 rounds again. So it was. I mean, as you went along, you picked up you picked up the sparring rounds as you went along.
There's a fan asking what Corey Spinks is up to these days.
Corey lives in Florida, and I think he's at that gym down there. And I heard he was training boxers. He was doing that.
And what's Leon doing now?
Leon's living in Las Vegas, and I guess Leon's just trying to stay healthy.
I see. Now, you had a lot of amateur highlights. Of course, that was probably peaking when you won the Olympics in Montreal. Any particular fights or tournaments you won as an amateur that stand out to you?
Yeah, when I first won my first national Golden Glove, that was in 19. My first time going was in '73, and then the following year, the reason why I lost in '73 was that I got tired in the fight. So I made it a duty to train harder the following year if I was to go, and I did go in '74, and the fight was in The match was in Denver, Colorado, and I worked harder that year, that semester for the boxing, and I beat everybody in my hometown that I had to get in the ring with, and so I made that trip to the National Golden Gloves, and I won, because I worked harder. The reason why I lost in 73 because I got tired. So I said I'm not gonna get tired this year in 74. So I worked harder, and I got the victory. I won the tournament.
And for the actual Olympics in Montreal themselves, any memories of what the experience was like coming to Montreal and pulling off that spectacular feat of winning the gold medal?
Yeah, that was great. Because in January of 1976, I had a USA had a trip for boxers. I think we had about a couple of teams with us, at least about six guys had extra guys in their weight class, and I think I had his name was let me see, what was his name? Anyway, we had a couple of guys in six weight classes, and we went to Russia, Moscow, Russia, to fight. And I fought I fought the first in Moscow. I fought the 72 Olympic champion, and I beat him, but they gave the decision to him. And so I think the next time I fought a guy named Rufat Reskiv, and I saw Leon match up with him in the bouts where they had the American heavyweights boxing the Russian heavyweights, and I saw Leon fight this particular guy. And so when I got to the town, that township, they put me in the ring with him. And the thing was, I had did well with Leon, so for some reason I just couldn't get afraid of this guy that Leon fought from Russia. I couldn't get afraid of him. So it was strange that that I wasn't getting afraid, because when you don't fear your opponents, a lot of times you get beat. Anyway, I got in the ring with the guy, and he made a funny move, and I said, okay, next time he make that funny move, I'm going in. I'm going in for the kill. So he made that funny move again. I went in, and next thing you know, I was sitting on the canvas, and I was looking up at the lights over the ring. I'm saying, "No, how the hell I get down here?" So anyway, we couldn't get a decision over there in Russia, but he beat me there, and just so happened in Montreal, he was in my weight class at 165 pounds. So I had a chance to get him back, and we got in the ring, and I did it to him. I stopped him with a body shot. So that was a memorable victory, because I won the gold medal when I beat him in the finals.
And you mentioned that fear is important for actually winning a fight. How did you deal with fear and nervousness going into fights to use it to your advantage rather than to some people it'll be a disadvantage? It'll make them tired, or it will make them not think straight.
Yeah, when you have fear of your opponents, you kind of like cover all your bases, and in what you do in the ring, you protect yourself a lot better, and you don't run into things like I did when I didn't have any fear for the Russian in Moscow. I got in the ring, I didn't have no fear for him, and I got hit with a hell of a right hand, and next thing you know, I was sitting up looking at the lights over the ring. So fear sometimes you can use to your advantage, and that's what I did with fear.
How was your popularity as a fighter after you won the Olympics? I would imagine you'd start being recognized at that point in your life by boxing fans and people recognizing you as a celebrity for the gold medal.
Well, after the Olympics, I came home and they had a little motorcade from the airport to take me home where I lived, and that was that was pretty much. Really being recognized in my hometown.
And of course, you ended up turning pro, but I understand you didn't want to turn pro at first. What actually made you take the dive into the pro fighting game?
Well, on the job, I was cleaning, and I fell asleep in the ladies' bathroom. It was graveyard shift, so it wasn't no women there. But anyway, I fell asleep in the ladies' bathroom. I woke up by my supervisor cursing me out real bad. And so I told him that, I know I made a mistake. I deserve, the scolding. But right then and there, I said, when I messed up on the job, I said I might as well go ahead and turn pro, because the guy was cursing me out really bad. And the thing was, I started to beat him up, but I didn't want to get in trouble for that. So I just decided to turn pro after that good cursing out he gave me.
Did you have any big pro offers after winning the gold medal? Because I would have imagined that some fight promoters would have wanted to see you turn pro right away.
Yeah, it was a guy, my promoter, Butcher Lewis. He came to the press room where I guess everybody that won a gold medal would go to I guess if somebody wanted to talk to him, they would lead them to this press room that we had. And so that was it. Butch Lewis came to me and he asked me, did I want to turn pro? And I demonstrated to him what I felt like doing. And that was, I put my hands behind my head and I kicked my feet up on this chair. And I told him, this is what I feel like doing right now. At this particular time, I said, but if you want to give me your number, I said, I'll take your number. And if I change my mind, I'll give you a call. So that's how that happened. And the thing was, after I messed up on my job, the very next day I called him and told him to come on and talk to me, because I'm ready to turn pro.
Did you have a contract when you turned pro for a certain number of fights, or was it just like a per fight deal?
Yeah, he gave me. We had a contract, and it was so many fights he had on there, and how much money I was going to make.
And you ended up getting a 31 fight win streak, which is incredible. What were some of the keys to your success as a pro fighter?
Well, I trained hard because I found out the key to winning, and that was you work hard and you get what you want. That's what I started doing. I started working hard, and I trained real hard. Did my running. I went to the gym and boxed and did all the things that guys do in a gym. And the thing is, when I worked hard, I got what I wanted. And I found out the key. The key to me was condition. And I think I won a national Golden Glove before Leon. And the same year, 74, after I won in March, Leon, the Armed Forces, they participated in the next tournament, and Leon won. So I put Leon on a win streak as well, because Leon had been going to the national way before me. I think Leon was going in 71 or 72, but when I went 73, I found out I found the reason why I lost. So I trained harder, and I got the victory in 74. So, and Leon, I guess he got embarrassed because he's the older brother, and Leon he won the next tournament that was in that year of 74, and we started winning ever since. At least I didn't. Leon kept on, but I didn't. I lost in both 75 finals in both of the tournaments.
And what was your diet like? I imagine your diet must have been have to be pretty strict when you were doing light heavyweight.
Yeah, well, I just ate the things, you know. I put myself on a nice diet. You know, I had cornflakes, shredded wheat, and then my mother, she cooked a lot of things that was non-fattening, and I think that was it.
Did you drink raw eggs and stuff like we see in the Rocky movies?
Yeah, I did that. I did that a few times. Yeah.
Do you have any memories of your fight against Eddie Mustafa Muhammad where you won the light heavyweight title?
Yes, I do. I remember that fight pretty well. I watch it every now and again at home because I got a DVD of that particular fight. I forget who gave me that, but I got me and Eddie Mustafa on the screen, and watching myself beat him.
Is there any highlights? Did you have a victory celebration or anything after winning the title for the first time?
Yeah, well, when I won, I mean, I was just extremely happy, you know, and the guys that worked around me or worked with me, they were just as happy as I was.
And after, when you became champion, you started appearing on some television shows and doing some appearances outside of boxing. How did you like kind of entering other domains in the entertainment field?
Oh, that was all right. It was all right. I wasn't real crazy about interviews. I wasn't real crazy about that, but you know, whatever it took, whatever I had to do when from winning, that's what I did. It wasn't a problem.
You appeared on the Jeffersons, didn't you, at one point?
Yes.
What was that experience?
Oh, that was fun. It was a lot of fun to meet Sherman Hemsley and to do that particular thing with my friend Joe Frazier. I enjoyed doing it with Joe.
Were you ever on Johnny Carson? I know in those days they had a lot of champions on Johnny Carson.
I'm not sure. I can't think of myself doing Johnny Carson. I think I did. I'm not sure. I think I was on the Johnny Carson, so I'm not sure.
Now, you had a 24-year-old wife that passed away, unfortunately, I think from a car accident. How did that affect you mentally and affect your training at the time?
Well, that was hard for me because she had went to a palm reader, and she said that the palm reader told her that she would die young, and I told her that she got to rebuke it. I told her to rebuke that what she told you. I said rebuke that so that you don't, you know. But I didn't know if she was going to actually, you know, die or not. But that particular night, I had to go to a press conference in Atlantic City with Braxton because I was getting ready to fight Braxton, and she wanted to go, but I told her that if she took too long, I'm gonna have to go because I got to be on time. And so she changed her mind, and I went on. And next thing you know, I think somebody called me. I forget who called me, but they called me and told me that she had died in a car crash. So it was kind of tough because it was the baby. I mean, the mother of my child that I had. I only had the one child with her, and it was tough. That was tough.
So then I guess you had to find people to look after your child during your training and so forth. Did your parents or family help you out at all at that time?
Well, I used her parent. I used her, Sandy's parent to keep the baby because my mother, she was in St. Louis, and Sandy's mother was right there in Philadelphia. So I used her.
I see. And a lot of fans want me to ask you about your fight against Dwight Mohammed Huey. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Kwawi, something like that. Kwawi.
Yeah. You beat him, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
But
yeah, I boxed him a lot in Joe Frazier's gym, because when he come out of the joint, he came to Joe Frazier's gym. I guess he was boxing in there, and me and Braxton, we became good friends. But I used to box him nearly every day, and it was tough. I think I helped toughen him up. I helped toughen him up for myself. So anyway, we got along, but we boxed nearly every day.
And I heard that you had a fight in Alaska, which you wouldn't find many world champions fighting in Alaska nowadays. How did that fight come about?
In Alaska?
Yeah.
I can't recall that.
Okay. It's on the internet, so maybe it's wrong. It sounded strange.
I can't remember ever fighting in Alaska.
Now, I know you were married, but a lot of fans on this channel like me to ask what the groupie scene was like in boxing. We know that world champions in all sports always have girls throwing themselves at them. Did you experience any of that over the years?
No, I didn't get that lucky. I didn't get that lucky. But yeah, and I've never been married before.
Oh, okay.
I had a girlfriend, but we didn't have a chance to get married.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't lined up for you at your hotel after your fights?
No, but I think I had a few approach me, but to no avail.
And you're very well remembered for your 2 victories over Larry Holmes. Could you share with us some of your memories of fighting him? I know a lot of people didn't give you a chance of beating him, and you proved them wrong.
Yeah, well, I used to box heavyweights at Joe Frazier's gym when I couldn't get any boxing there, and the guy used to run the floor. That was Joe's. He was Joe's friend, but he worked for Joe. And he told me to start coming in at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I probably can get some boxing. I can work with the big guys, and I can get some work. So I started doing that. So I mean, when I had to fight Larry, I was like, I mean, I asked my promoter. I said, what we doing? He said, we fighting for the heavyweight championship. I said, really? He said, yeah. So anyway, I just went back in my memory bank. I said, you used to box heavyweights all the time in Joe Frazier's gym. I boxed Tex Cobb. I boxed a guy named Mike Kodnicki, and these guys were big. And but I used my little speeds, and I helped them with their with speed, and I got hit hard a couple of times by them big guys, but I was probably just a middleweight at the time. But I sparred with guys in Joe Frazier's gym, so I for some reason I just went back there in my mind. I said, well, you did all right with them big old guys in Joe's gym. So I mean, you should do all right in the ring with Larry. So, and then I said, well, I'm just as tall as him. So, I mean, I'm not going to be afraid. But I said to myself, I said, just bluff him first. Act as if you're going to fight him toe to toe when the bell sounds for the first round. And so that's what I thought to do, and I did. I went straight to him instead of running around the ring, running from him. I just went towards him like as if I was going to fight him toe to toe, and he respected that because he didn't charge me or nothing. So I think that's the strategy that I took into the ring with me when I had to fight Larry Holmes. So I just used my bluff. I bluffed him, And he responded, in a confident way for me. And so I just started getting comfortable in the ring, fighting him. And the more the rounds went on, the more comfortable I got.
Was that probably your biggest payday fight up to that point when you fought Larry at heavyweight?
Yes, sir.
I guess there's probably more money at the heavyweight than light heavyweight.
Yeah, and plus, not many light heavies. No, you didn't make that much money. You made a nice piece of change. It's according to the fight. If it was a big fight, I mean, you get paid, but yeah, heavyweights made more money.
Did you spend a lot of money on your robes?
No, I don't remember spending any money on. I think Butch Lewis he got them made for me.
Okay, so you got them sponsored probably, and your promoter helped with that.
Yeah.
Now, what was the reason why you didn't face Tony Tucker and you ended up fighting Jerry Cooney instead? Was that just because you wanted the bigger payday?
Yeah, I think somebody tried to put some shice in the game because I was scheduled to fight who I wanted to. I could fight who I wanted to, and I think it was Don King that put the stuff in the game where he wanted me to fight Tony Tucker, but I wasn't scheduled to fight. I was scheduled to pick my own opponents. I didn't pick him, but Butch Lewis did.
How was Cooney as a puncher? We've heard that he's one of the hardest hitters in heavyweight boxing at that time.
Well, he hit me a few times, but I tried to stay out the way of Cooney's punches. But he swatted me a few times, and I knew right then I had to stay out of his way.
How is it appearing with some of these boxers that you've fought in the past now when you do appearances? I saw you in Cornwall, Ontario last year with Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney, for example. Is it awkward at all since you fought them, or is it all business?
No, it's no problem. It's no problem. I mean, I beat them, and guys have boxers. They have a thing where they respect each other, and I beat them, but I don't think they're still mad with me. I don't believe.
Now, this is an interesting fan question from Carlos. He's asking that he saw you on a TV show in the early 80s where you got in the ring with some tough guy who was not a pro boxer and you beat him up easily. It was one of those make your dreams come true type shows. Do you have any recollection of that?
No, I think I got in the ring with, it was a football player, I think. I can't remember. I think it was it O.J. Simpson? I think it was O.J., but I can't recall.
Was that common that they would have you do exhibition bouts like that just to help your popularity, I guess?
No, I didn't do many exhibitions like that. I didn't do that.
And of course, everyone remembers your fight against Tyson. It's on all of Tyson's highlights. And unfortunately, I guess it wasn't your best fight day. Any thoughts of that fight? That was your one loss after 31 victories, which is an incredible record.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I got in there and I thought I did what I can do. But if I had to do it all over again, I would run around the ring for a while and not try to hit him the way I did in the fight.
Would that have been one of your biggest paydays, that fight, if not your biggest?
Yes, that was it. That was my biggest payday.
There is this infamous story about Mike Tyson punching a wall before your fight. back in the dressing room. Is that all just folklore, or is there any truth to that?
No, I don't know. I wasn't on his team, and I don't know what he did in his dressing room. But I know when I got in the ring with him, he hit me. He hit me, and I went down.
Now, what do you think about this upcoming fight with Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.? I think it's going to be in November in Los Angeles. Tyson getting back in the ring after all these years.
Sure, I don't know what to think of the fight, but I don't. If Tyson, he still should be able to fight, and I don't think unless Roy Jones got real fat, but Roy wasn't a heavyweight. But if he's going to fight as a heavyweight, I wish him good luck, but he's fighting Tyson, so. And Tyson still should be able to hit pretty hard. I don't think Roy got a chance.
Someone says the football player you fought, his name was Mark Gastineau. I guess somebody looked it up.
Yeah, I didn't fight him, Gastineau.
Okay,
I don't remember.
I see. So as far as pro football players, you said you were in the ring with the one. How do you rate their toughness compared to boxers?
Well, get hit in the face that's a turnaround compared to getting slammed to the canvas. A lot of people can't take punches to the face.
No. Do you think you would have potentially done an MMA fight if MMA had been around back when you were at your peak?
No, I wouldn't have done that. I don't want, I wouldn't want to be getting kicked on my thigh, in my gut, upside my head. No, I couldn't do that.
Do you feel you had extra pressure on you because of your brother's accomplishments as a boxer?
Nope.
Is there anything in particular you did to develop your own punching power?
I worked hard. I had a good coach. I had a good coach that taught me how to fight, and I just and I would go to the gym nearly every day, and he taught us how to fight well.
Were you ever offered a fight with Evander Holyfield?
No.
Now, you were the first light heavyweight world champion to also become a heavyweight world champion. Is that a special accomplishment for you? Obviously, it probably is.
Sure, yeah. Because I never thought a day that I would fight as a heavyweight. Now, I had boxed a lot of them in Joe Frazier's gym. And so when I did have to do that, I went back in memory and saw myself doing well in Joe Frazier's gym. So I figured I had a chance.
Now, you retired after the Mike Tyson fight. Was that just because you had made your money, you still had your health, and you wanted to get out of the industry before something bad happened?
No, the thing was, I said to myself, I said, if I ever was to lose a fight, I would hope it'd be my last fight. And it just so happened the fight that I did lose, it was, I was a heavyweight, and I couldn't see myself fighting as a heavyweight, getting punched by these big old guys. I was tall, but I wasn't that, I was kind of scrawny. I didn't think that I could take a lot of punishment by the big guys.
Did you ever have any big fight offers that you turned down after the Tyson fight?
If I did, Butch Lewis had got them, and but I think I showed that I didn't want to fight anymore.
How was dealing with Don King in your experience? Because we've heard Tyson didn't have the best experience.
I didn't deal with him.
Was your manager?
No, Butcher Lewis was my manager.
Okay.
He was my promoter, and I never dealt with Don.
Okay. So was he representing Mike Tyson when you fought Tyson?
I think so.
With Tyson, was it just that you weren't expecting the kind of power that he had?
I saw the power he had. I had to avoid getting hit by it, but he had fast hands and he punched real hard. So I had my hands full. I knew I had my hands full. So I said, hey, you gotta do the best you can, though, brother. So that's what I did. I did the best I could, and I made a mistake.
I know you trained some fighters after your retirement. Is there any fighters that you're particularly proud of working with?
No, I didn't train no guys, but I worked with the finger twins that Butch had signed up from St. Louis, but I didn't really train them.
Okay. Now, have you seen Tyson Fury box, and how would you have gone about boxing Tyson Fury if you had been matched up with him?
Tyson Fury?
Yes.
I can't even think who's that.
He's 6'9". I believe he's the current undisputed.
Oh yeah. That guy that yeah, they got in the ring and fought. Yeah. I don't know how I would have dealt with him, but I would have boxed. I'm sure I would have boxed and tried to avoid getting hit, but I'm pretty sure I would have did all right.
What do you think about the state of boxing these days? There's still huge paydays, of course, but it seems like MMA might be a little bit more popular overall than boxing.
Yeah, because the talent is missing in boxing. It's missing. So I mean, and you watching guys kick and punch and so I mean it's a little interesting, but it's not quite boxing.
What are your thoughts on Vernon Forrest?
Vernon Forrest?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Okay. I'm guessing it's another boxer. It was a fan question. Now, do you live in Delaware still?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. And I guess you saved your money pretty well from what I understand, and your health is good.
Yeah, I did the best I could.
I guess you're not married. You never ended up getting married?
No, I didn't.
What were your thoughts on the Rocky movies? Did you think they were good for boxing?
I mean, it was entertainment. That's what it was, entertainment.
For any amateur fighters that might be watching this, do you have any fight tips that you could share?
Yeah, I got a fight tip. Hands high and chin down and hands high.
Who was your toughest opponent that you ever fought over the years?
Sure, I can't remember. I can't remember the toughest, but I can't remember the toughest fight I had. But I had some tough ones.
Was there ever any talk of you fighting Ali?
No, because Leon fought him. Leon fought Ali, and Leon beat Ali.
How were the purse bids back in the days when you were fighting? Did the fighters have more control over them than they do now?
Over the purse?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't think fighters really had control over any purse. You know, like Muhammad Ali. You know.
I see. Mm-hmm. But the money was pretty good overall as a world champion, I would assume.
Yeah, pretty good. You know, we were Olympians. A lot of time. I mean, so a lot of us got $10,000 for the first fight. You know, coming out of the Olympics. So we had some good paydays. Some.
Is there any pre-fight ritual that you would do before fights to get yourself mentally and physically prepared to get in the ring?
Yeah, I would get on my knees and pray.
I guess it worked.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Because I sure enough depended on the Lord to make sure I didn't get hurt, and I didn't want to hurt nobody either.
When you were fighting, when would your last meal of the day be before getting in the ring? Because obviously, I know most fighters don't want to fight with anything in their stomach.
Well, I used to eat a steak, but then I started. I got involved with this nutritionist guy named Mackie Shearstone, and I developed better eating habits. I'll eat some chicken instead of the filet mignon or the big New York steak. But I learned with Mackie. Mackie helped me out with eating, and a lot of times, I wouldn't eat heavy, or I would eat kind of light, where I was able to perform without having any problem.
Do you follow Demetrius Andrade at all?
I don't think I know who that is.
Okay, it's another boxer. A fan was asking you that. There's another fan that's asking you if there's any opponent that you thought you would destroy, but he ended up being a really tough fight.
No, I never doubted what could happen to me in the ring. But I just had to prepare myself for whatever.
How did you get the nickname the Jinx?
From my boxing promoter, he just thought of our last name, Sphinx, and he just put the Jinx on there.
How did your workout routine change when you moved up to the heavyweight division from light heavyweight? Did you lift heavier or anything?
Oh yeah, well I lift a little bit, but I started sparring. I started sparring with nothing but heavyweights. I mean, big guys, and you talking about? I mean, that was tough. That was tough sparring with the heavyweights. but I made it through it. I made it through it. I got I got cuts and bruises, and but I made it. And I was smaller and I was a little faster than a lot of the guys that I sparred with, but I got hit pretty hard, and I made it through it. I made it through it. It was a lot of tough heavyweights I sparred with.
Is there any fighters from today's boxing scene that you would like to have fought if you were still in your prime?
No, I never picked my opponent. I left it up to my promoter.
Okay. There was some type of lawsuit with your promoter after he passed away. Did that ever get sorted out?
I can't recall.
Now, apparently a fight was proposed between you and Matthew Sad Muhammad. How would you have boxed him if that ended up happening?
Well, me and Saad came to Joe Frazier's gym one day, and he wanted to check me out. I had just got to town out of St. Louis, and I don't know what made Matthew Saad Muhammad want to come check me out, but he came to Joe Frazier's gym and wanted to work with me and work out with me, get in the ring and box. And I think he had made a mistake, but I saw he was strong. He had some good punches, but I had faster hands, and I think I kind of he didn't do too well in that boxing match that we had in Joe Frazier's gym.
Who had the best chin of anyone you fought, in your opinion?
Lord, I can't recall.
In your mind, who are some of the best boxers of all time?
In my mind, who are some of the best boxers of all time?
Yes.
Well, you had a lot of them. You had a lot of guys that could fight. You know, I can't remember all of them. You know, but I know Leon and myself. We were pretty good coming out of the Olympics, and you had Muhammad and Joe Frazier, Kenny Norton. You had a lot of guys that could fight.
There's a fan asking if your Olympic gold medal victory was the favorite win of your career.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, it was revenge. He beat me in Russia, and then I got him back for all the marbles in Montreal. So that was a great win for me. I owed him a butt whooping because he beat me in Russia. And so when I got a chance to fight him, get him back, and I did him worse than he did me. He knocked me down in Russia, and I knocked him down in Montreal, and even hitting him with a body shot that stopped the fight altogether. So I did him worse. I did him much worse than he did me.
There's a fan asking how you prepare to fight a guy like Sugar Ray that has super speed.
Sugar Ray, shoot, I don't. I guess you just try to rumble with him, but Ray was not in my weight class. So if I had to fight Ray, I'm sure I would have beat Ray because I'm a much heavier boxer than Ray. But Ray was good. He was our teammate in Montreal, and we voted him in as being a team captain. So yeah, Ray was pretty good. It's a good fight.
There's a fan asking how you want the Sphinx family legacy to be remembered in boxing history.
Well, it don't matter. It don't matter. We in there somewhere.
I imagine you're probably in numerous Hall of Fames already.
Yes.
Which ones are? I know you're probably in a ton of them, but like, what are the main Hall of Fames you're in?
Well, in Canastota, that's where I got inducted first. And was that 94?
Wow.
Yeah, that was it.
Is there any city that you liked fighting in the most?
Not really. I didn't care where they put the fight up or where we were fighting. As long as they had a ring and it was safe.
What are your hobbies now that you're retired and long out of boxing? Is there anything you like to do in your free time?
Well, I like to do a lot of things. Yeah, I like to do a lot of things. You know, I can't. Well, it's kind of hard to remember everything now.
Do you travel much?
Yes, yeah, I do that. I travel pretty a lot more now than when I retired.
Who do you think the best pure boxer is in the Sphinx family? R.Y. Martinez is asking.
Who was the best?
Who was the best pure boxer of your family?
Shoot, I guess Leon, myself, and Corey.
I guess you all supported yourself, and there wasn't really that much competition between you guys.
No, it wasn't that much competition. Leon and myself were good friends. That was my big brother, and Corey was his son. So Corey was like a little brother to me.
Do you have any social media or anything where fans can look you up and follow what you're doing? I think you have a Twitter, I heard.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I'll look it up and put it in the descriptions for the fans. Is there anything you'd like to say to the fans? Oh, sorry. What's that, Nick? Do you have his Twitter? Is there anything you'd like to say to the fans, Michael, that have supported you and have been watching this interview?
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate them from rooting for me when I was in the ring.
Now, I'm just a very amateur boxer. I like to work the heavy bag. Is there any heavy bag drills you would recommend just for my personal knowledge?
Yeah, well, you don't punch down at the bag. You punch high, in case you're fighting a taller guy. That's how we did it in St. Louis. Our coach told us to punch high, so you can keep your hands up.
What's your favorite combination, or maybe your top three combinations?
Well, the 1, 2, 3, jab, right hand, and left hook.
You keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Any any keys to the body shots?
And the keys to the body shot. Well, you hit him right in the middle, solar plex. Punch him
Did you
right there.
did you do much liver shots when you were fighting?
Well, if I could, a lot of times you shoot for the liver. Sometimes you hit the elbow, and that hurts your hands. Kind of hurts your hands. So, I mean, the thing was, I was a headhunter. And only after I had him concentrating on me, hitting upside his head, then I would throw a body shot. And 9 times out of 10, I would land that punch right in this solar plex or in his gut.
Are you familiar with Deontay Wilder, who's been having the series of fights against Tyson Fury?
Yes.
There's a fan on here asking, in your opinion, what does Wilder need to do to beat Fury?
Well, he just needs to keep his hands up, and I mean he got to use them straight punches. Straight punches.
There's another fan asking, what's the best way to work a punch? I guess to work on your punches.
Yeah, well, that's it. You got to work on them, but you put your hands up and you shoot your shots right in front of you and bring your hands back to protect your face.
What are your thoughts if you have your hands up on the people that fight with their jab hand faced outward, so it has a little bit more snap to it? Do you think there's an advantage to that, but it's harder to block?
Yeah, I don't think you should hold your guards while you got your fist facing you. You got to have your hands, kind of even. As you punch, you can turn it over and land a good punch. You punch you try to use the knuckle surface, the two knuckles up top, and you land better shots like that.
And finally, do you have any tips for training for the bobbing and weaving and the actual avoiding of punches?
Yes, that's what you gotta do. You gotta bob and weave. Sometimes you can put your hands up, but you gotta bob and weave. You gotta go to side, or step back, step forward, and you bob and weave to avoid getting hit at will.
And did you ever do any sparring in the gym where you're not actually punching and you're just avoiding punches to work on that?
Yeah. Our coach had us doing that. He had us. All we could do was bob and weave, and he put a smaller guy, not a big guy, in front of you, and all he did was jab, just many jabs, just jabbing, and all you could do was duck, and knock the punches down, and it helped you with your defense tremendously.
Well, thanks a lot for doing this interview. I really appreciate it. I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm a big boxing fan. I appreciate the boxing tips. I'm going to work on some of that stuff.
All right.
Is there anything you'd like to say to close this off? Thanks again. It's been an honor.
I enjoyed the interview, and that's about it.